looks like he's playing Esper Control, and David's playing a Bant Control list.
Yeah, so this matchup, this is Esper's what I'm playing in Standard right now, is pretty big in favor of Esper. I felt like, you know, Bant is more of a board control deck, and Esper's a pure control deck. That said, David won the first game, so Corbett's gonna have to be a little aware of that.
Yeah.
This game looks firmly in hand for Corbett. He has a Jace Memory Adept, which has been on the table for a couple turns, and his hand has a Sphinx's Revelation, and he has 10 lands in play. So,
and he just cleared the board with Supreme Verdict, and then he was able to get rid of some Thragtusk tokens with Detention Sphere.
Funny story, Corbett's actually, I gave him the 75 just before the tournament. They actually like physical cards. So no, we can talk about the list he's playing.
Well, it's good that you know the list inside out.
Yeah, hopefully. Well, no, hopefully I know it. Maybe I just have no clue what I'm doing. That does happen. Big Sphinx's Revelation from David Ashby. Corbett should be fine with that. He has it. I mean, David's leaving up 2 mana, enough to draw land Detention Sphere, but he just draws cards.
Yeah, so he's got Azorius Charm and 2 Restoration Angels, I think.
Yep, so the interesting question is, what is in Ashby's sideboard would be what Corbett cares about.
So we have a Negate, which will be coming in. We've got Clone, a Garruk Relentless, a Sigarda, a Host of Herons, a Dissipate, or 2 Dissipates, 2 Centaur Healers, 2 Supreme Verdicts, 2 Jace Memory of Depths, and 3 Rest in Peace. So I expect the Jaces and the counter spells are coming in.
But there's nothing like Pithing Needle, which is good for Corbett.
Yeah. Do you think maybe the Garruk Relentless comes in just as an additional threat that's a little bit hard to deal
just
with?
Makes 2/2s every turn.
Detention Spheres.
I mean, it's fine. No, not really. Yeah, I mean, it's probably better than a Resto Angel. Yeah. But only by a little. Outside of Corbett's board, I mean, in this matchup, what he probably tries to board in is he has Negates and Duresses, which he'd board in. He'd probably also board in 2 Planar Cleansing in the matchup. Ashby does play Detention Spheres and does play Planeswalkers, and Sweepers are really good here, so he probably just board in more of them.
So we saw Corbett mill 10 on his turn, and then David untapped, and he drew a Jace and played that to Planeswalker roll away Corbett's Jace.
Yep.
But most of the damage is probably done already.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's like your deck is your life total here, and Corbett, you know, David can't win soon enough, and Corbett already has a Drown Yard going. Alright, flashes a Restoration Angel in play, that's fine. Corbett's fine with this. And on end step, Corbett's gonna mill 3 more, and, you know, this is how Esper wins. It's just, Corbett's at 14, that's pretty healthy. He has a Duress, he has some, you know.
David looks like he has a very large graveyard at this point, so...
Looks like Corbett has drawn another Drown Yard, it appears. Yeah, 10 cards left in the library. Yeah, this is completely in Corbett's control. There's no way for David Ashby to deal enough damage. The Drown Yards will erase the damage. Yep.
So Corbett is just...
Yeah, second Drown Yard, pass turn. You can even Devour Flesh here. Does he have? He has just enough mana to cast a Devour Flesh as well, which he'll do. Okay, David goes to... I don't even... David goes to some number.
Does not matter.
Nope, that card's just Diabolic Edict.
Corbett is going to he's going to Drown Yard at the end of David's turn and then
untap Drown again. So
yeah,
this is the last turn.
So David looks like he's going to cast an Angel of Serenity, and it's not going to matter.
It looks like Corbett has also boarded in some. Okay, he still has his. It looks like he has a Blind Obedience still in the deck. That's probably incorrect. That's typically for. First I thought it was a Rest in Peace, which sometimes you do because you can't looping. It's hard to beat looping Angel of Serenities. And they're going to game 3. I think Corbett may realize that and take out the Blind Obedience. Blind Obedience often sees more play. You can board it in against red decks. It's not more play. It's better in the Lingering Souls variants. Sometimes Esper has the ability to chip away at life totals with 1/1s and Blind Obedience activations with, like, Think Twice, Extorts, make 2/1/1s extort. This build, at least because it has no lingering souls, doesn't really have the ability to do that.
So in this build, it's really there just as a way
Gains
to slow the decks down and gain some incidental life.
Right. It's like you don't. It's a hedge against Thundermaw Hellkite decks.
So we see Corbett thinking about his sideboarding. It looks like he's taking out the Blind Obedience, and he put back in a Azorius Charm, and then I think he
has a
just
planar cleansing. He put a planar cleansing in to cut an Azorius Charm, and that's definitely correct. Azorius Charm is pretty weak in this matchup. You can play it because it cycles, and that's fine. Yep. But the first things that usually come out in this sort of matchup would be, Azorius Charm is one of the first things that comes out.
So one interesting thing that we saw was, as Corbett was milling David, and especially after the mill 10 from the Jace, he went and inspected David's library, and he wrote down some notes on his notepad. And I think he was actually going through that mental exercise that you were talking about with the Blind Obedience, and he was saying, okay, I want to reevaluate how I'm sideboarding, and I've got so much information here that it's worth, the 15 seconds of taking it, writing down notable cards, and saying, okay, this is actually, these are things that my opponent is trying to do. How do I counter plan against them?
Yeah, well, I think what's especially important in this matchup, and this is, one of the things about playing a control deck, which is as grindy as Esper, he probably wants to know the exact count on cards in David's deck. I know you play Dissipate. How many? Yeah. What is the likelihood that you have one? Because it's very possible that the Bant deck actually does have more counter spells in this matchup.
And in addition to providing that information about sideboarding, it also helps you play the game. Exactly. Because you can figure out, okay, we've seen 2 Dissipates. At most, he's got 2 more Dissipates in his deck, and maybe probabilistically he has 1. So we're going ahead and starting game 3, and it's worth noting that we've got 11.5 minutes left on the clock. So
looks like a ship for David Ashby. He has 1 land. That's almost certainly going to go back.
Okay.
2.
The township and a glacial fortress.
That seems weak. Yep.
Yeah.
Corbett keeps. So let's talk about how to play this matchup, because that really is almost more important than what cards they're using here. If you're on the Esper control side of the matchup, so both decks are Sphinx's Revelation decks essentially. Yep. Corbett's going to try to mill, whereas David's going to try to beat up with Thrag Tusks. Because of that, or David's going to try to loop Restoration Angels. Angel of Serenities. Yeah. That puts Corbett at a little bit of an advantage here, because Corbett still has a full set of sweepers. That said, what David can, it still comes down to Sphinx's Revelation. If one player can do it and the other one can't, that's obviously game.
Right.
What Corbett wants to watch out for is that it is more important for David to resolve a Sphinx's Revelation than it is for Corbett. So sometimes you get in the situation where, I can Revelation, but it will let you Revelation. David would like that to happen, and Corbett would not like that to happen.
So David's running 3 Sphinx's Revelations here. He's got 2 Prime Speakers Agana. Is that a... Okay, so we have the game starting. So land.
Prime Speaker doesn't particularly matter here.
It doesn't function as a substitute for Sphinx's Revelation?
It does. So what it can do is it can snowball. It can be an uncounterable, it can be pretty good here. It depends how, a turn 6 one would be very good. A late game one doesn't particularly matter.
Okay.
Because at that point, Corbett's just trying to wrath every turn. So we see a Smiter from Ashby. Interestingly enough, so I always find this really funny about Luxon and Smiter, is that it's not an aggro card. It's a 3/3 for 4, and it doesn't ever. I can't think of a format where it actually wins the game. Its best role is it's an answer to. It's like an anti-aggro card, which I think is really funny.
It's a big brick wall.
Yeah, it's a big brick wall. It's almost like a plume veil. Because I never actually see people. When's the last time I had a game where some guy man, my opponent just played 2 Smiters and just beat me up with them 20. It's that doesn't happen. Not in this format.
I remember last year, I think it was at Star City Vegas. Actually, that's an interesting story to talk about later about the Smiter. But so Corbett,
Augur hits Supreme Verdict.
Yeah.
I hate that card. I play it and I hate it because it misses about a third of the time, and I want to kill myself every time it does. All right.
So another Augur.
Yep. No counter spells, by the way. Yeah. And then finds the counter spell off the second Augur.
And it's okay for him to have the negate there because a Sphinx's Revelation for 2 is
you can let him do that.
okay. And
3 is like
3,
the maximum you can let them get away with. Anything more than 3 is completely not allowed.
And so, you said that you don't like Augur, and it's just a necessary evil in this deck as another draw card.
I don't even know if it's a
anti-aggro.
necessary evil. I mean, it gives your Restoration Angels something to do. That's sweet. I almost just want to cut them. But then I play against red decks, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't cut them.
So both players are making land drops. Corbett's got a much fuller hand.
Yep.
And it looks like David just keeps trying to go on the aggressive route. He's turned a
Making a
Celestia
2/2.
Charm into a 2/2.
I'm not sure why Celestia Charm's still in here at all. That card seems terrible.
Yeah. Are there any creatures he wants to exile?
No, nothing he can exile.
And making a 2/2 here just does not seem very
Pushing 2
useful.
damage, that's not... I mean, he got some damage, and that's probably more than he could have hoped for.
Yeah.
If I'm Corbett, I actually go for a Revelation for 2 here, I think. He was tempted to devour... Or he can Flashback Think twice from the yard, too.
So Corbett doesn't have any more lands in his hand. Is that why you want?
Yeah,
to
you just want to keep hitting
Revelation
lands.
too?
Snapcaster to block. Snapcast Devour Flesh. That's almost certainly not the play you want. Corbett doesn't win by dealing damage at all.
Yeah.
And so that creature wasn't a threat.
Do you think the clock pressure is getting to him, and that's why he's doing
I mean,
that?
you just can't win with damage. It just doesn't. That's not how this works.
I mean, it just seems like an irrelevant creature that is eventually going to be Supreme Verdicted.
The rest gets syncopated. Yeah, I'd be fine with that. It's just okay. He's gonna. Yeah, don't pay. I wouldn't pay for this. Yeah, that's fine. Duress took the syncopate.
Yep, that's what you want to accomplish there, and he gets to leave up negate.
Whereas it's like he's got David down to 22 here. It's actually 22 because of the second Devour Flesh. You know, but like you don't win with damage.
Yep, because this is what happens. A
Thragtusk. Now you're at 27. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Corbett is still fine. He had a little bit of room to work with here. What he needs to start doing is he needs to do that.
He needs to just
draw that Jace right there. That was a really sweet play.
So do we just start Mill-10ing here?
He's in a Revelation for 3. I kind of like. I probably would have gone Jace draw a card. You can always do the play with Jace where you plus him all the way up to 7, then you make both players draw 20, play another Jace, then mill them for 10, which is the mill for 30. In the same time, you could mill them for 40 with Jace. So you're losing 1 activation that way, but you're plus 3 cards.
The value from it.
Yeah. If you're worried about him detention spearing your Jace, that's the play. I think that's what Corbett's worried about right now. Is he wants to play Jace with that negate, which is fine. Which is great. He doesn't want to see a detention sphere, and he knows that David plays multiple D-spheres.
So David declines to cast the other Thragtusk from his hand. He's leaving up with negate, and
now I think we see Jace.
Yeah. And we're able to win the counterspell war with it. So there's the land, there's the Jace, there's negate from David, here's the negate from Corbett.
Yep. And this is huge. Yep, draws a card and mills 1. Yep, draws Devour Flesh, passes turn. This should be excellent for Corbett. And a Gavoni Township from David Ashby is not going to help. So David's going to have to now be in the play of casting this Angel and hoping that he can get enough damage. You know, he's going to have to hope that looping Angels is enough, that if Corbett just can't answer it, that the Angel can take down Jace. It's possible, but unlikely. So the reason that Snapcaster play is going to come back to bite Corbett a little bit is that Corbett would have previously had the out of like being able, he could try to mill himself into a Supreme Verdict. I think he has a Verdict already in his hand.
I think he has 2 in his hand.
I mean, and that's how this matchup works. Yeah. Is like he's just going to blow up the world every turn and then just keep milling 10.
Yeah.
And David should have no place to deal with that.
Having the option of Snapcastering the Devour Flesh in response to an Angel is another way to deal with the loop there.
Right, and so see, David doesn't have any way to he has no ways to interact with this. And if you're Corbett, you start zeroing the Jace, and that's what he's going to do.
So probably about 30 cards left in Ashby's library, somewhere around there now. And you know that Jace is going to have at least one more -0, probably 2, because Corbett, is going to be able to wrath again.
What Corbett wants, what Corbett's danger, the only thing that's left, and this, I think this is the real thing about that Snapcaster play is like, the only way Corbett loses is to he needs to make sure Detention Sphere doesn't happen. Because of the time issues, like the game could be drawn. Like he'd feel really great if he had the Snapcaster negate right now.
Right.
Which he doesn't have yet. So it is possible.
But so until he finds back up, his plan is just wrath the board, mill 10, wrath the board, mill 10.
It's really exciting. Esper is a very action-filled deck.
And now there are 20-some cards in his deck. And actually, Corbett has drawn a Snapcaster Mage, so
okay, so now he has Snap.
He has the protection for the negate.
That's huge.
And so
things can get dicey in this matchup if your opponent is playing Bant with red, with Kessig Wolf Run. I do not believe, and check me, that David Ashby has that splash. Because he's playing Gavoni Township instead.
He's got the Township and he's got the Cavern of Souls as his colorless value lands.
Right. I know that the deck that Melissa DeTora and Raphael Levy played at the Pro Tour was Bant with red for the Wolf Run.
And I think that this just straight Bant deck has become the more popular one. Paul Reitzel played at World Magic Cup qualifier, and that's become the thing. And now we're getting
Corbett probably just lets this resolve. Then next turn he can go Supreme Verdict, Devour Flesh, get everything. He just lets us resolve and flashes back his and plays Think Twice, flashes back Think Twice. Yep, which is what he did. 1.
Now he's
So,
got
hey, another
Restoration
Revelation.
Angel.
Cool.
So you can chump block if necessary.
Yep. So yeah, I would Verdict, Supreme Verdict, and then I Devour Flesh as well. 6, 7, 8, 9.
We're going to put those creatures in the graveyard eventually.
Yeah, they're there. They're just being slow. Maybe you can't.
David's kind of
resigned. I hope he's not. Don't flash the angels. Yeah, he's Devour Flushes here instead of flashing in the angels, but he still has Snap Negate up.
Yep. And David packs it in.
So Corbett Gray, 2 games to 1. Quite the feat. Finishes 3 full games with Esper Control within time constraints. Congratulations, sir.
Good job, Corbett.